I do feel like that we're going the right direction. I know the wins are not there, though we just got one there. I like the improvement. You know, I would like to be in a better place than we are, certainly. I feel like we should have at least 2 more wins here, and that's on me. But certainly to get a win for win's sake, you know, for winning goes a long way. And, you know, we got a chance this week to win on the road the first time since I've been here, win back-to-back games, win another division game. So for us, we got a lot to play for, obviously.
So that's the Lions head coach Dan Campbell yesterday. Team has off today, standard Tuesday day off for the players. Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, and Tom Mazaway. Fletch and JB in the house as well. Guys, I kind of want to stick with that for a little bit. If we just look at the guys that performed in a victory this week, again, Aiden Hutchinson, Kirby Joseph looked like a wrecking ball out there. Kirby Joseph, I mean, that looks like
knocked himself out either.
Yeah, he did. Any update on that, by the way?
Yeah, he's in concussion protocol, but Dan Campbell thinks it will be identical to Amon-Ra St. Brown when neither one of them were concussed.
Thank God.
But now, once you get your bell rung, there's a guy watching, and they're pulling you out for the rest of that game.
I told you about Kirby Joseph.
You did mention Kirby Joseph, third-round pick of the Lions. And then, of course, look, James Mitchell, say what you want. In the small snapshot that we have seen James Mitchell, he has looked like he belongs. Catches a touchdown pass, had a one catch a week earlier than that.
Shane Zylstra, too, wearing Herman Moore's number 84 with a touchdown.
I mean, you've got the tight end position caught 2 touchdown passes on a day that was the first game without T.J. Hawkinson. And then Derek Barnes.
What does that mean to you? That they got rid of Hawkinson. Why couldn't they throw to him all this time? They had to get rid of him to throw to these other guys? I'll never understand that. Can he not catch the ball?
Who not catch the ball?
Maybe it's not about catching the ball. Maybe it's about, maybe
Hawk. I'm talking about
being
Hawk.
used as a blocker or something. Maybe Hawk's more of a wide receiver instead of a tight end like they like to use him.
Well,
I mean, look
I
at
know
Zylstra.
they don't want to pay him.
But also it's at the same time, you have to look at it like this. When you've already made a decision to move forward from your tight end, then he's no longer part of the game plan. He's no longer in your thought process. He's no longer in your present. You've already moved on. Now, he still may be on the team, and you're waiting to do the deal or whatever, but he's already out of your identity for where you're going moving forward. Why get a guy involved when, one, you're not going to win this season, two, you're not going to move forward with him. When I was playing for the Cleveland Browns, when I got traded to the Jets, the Cleveland Browns had already known that they were going to move forward from me. And even though I started the 4 games that I played in for the Browns that year, they didn't feature me many times. I didn't get a lot of pass plays. But then I get traded to the Jets. The first game I play against the Jets, it's a Monday night game, play against the Dolphins. They had 9 attempts. Had 7 catches, but there were 9 attempts. It was the same as High. It was 9 attempts because I came to a team that needed me. I came to a team that wanted to feature me and that had plans. They traded for me because they wanted to see me in the future. I was a part of what they were building. Same thing with Minnesota. Minnesota needs him, and they want to build with him. So the fastest way to get him implemented is you got a guy in Kirk Cousins who's a damn good quarterback, at least in the regular season. He got him implemented, and you got a guy in Kevin O'Connell as the head coach.
Did they not watch the Seattle game? When Hawkinson's just under 200 yards in receptions.
You talking about did the Lions not watch it?
Yeah.
If they move forward with you, man, like if it's an afterthought, it's an afterthought, and that's just what it is. If this is no longer part of what we want to be moving forward, then we have no.
I got you.
We have no will to feature it anymore because this is no longer going to be a thing.
Is the best case scenario for this team a guy that we have not talked about all year long, and that's Derek Barnes? It's a 4th-round pick a year ago, and the guy was flying all over the field this past Sunday, 12 tackles. Is that the best-case scenario for this football team if he just continues to grow, or is that just a 1-game sample? You can't take much of it. We'll see what happens the rest of the year because he looked like an absolute beast out there on Sunday against a team with a pretty good run game, a pretty good offensive line, and a pretty good quarterback out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's in terms of the Green Bay Packers, their team's in disarray, and we can talk about that as well. For Derek Barnes had a good game. Let's just basically talk about what you talked about. The Lions had some draft picks play well, and that's exactly what you want to see.
And he's one of them.
And that's what I'm saying. We've talked about the Jets. We've talked about the Giants. I mean, you look at the Jets, they get a big win against Buffalo. That's because their young guys step up. Those draft picks step up. Same thing with Detroit, okay? James Mitchell, yes, he caught a touchdown. He didn't go out there and have 7 for 90. He had 2 for 8 and a touchdown. It was really good. Derek Barnes, 12 tackles. And
Can I just say one thing as you mentioned that? What's one area this team has?
Red zone.
Yes.
Red zone.
So even though 2 for 8, that's a really big red zone target.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm not poo-pooing on what you said. I'm agreeing with what you said.
Yeah.
From the draft pick perspective, Detroit Lions played well this past weekend. That's good to see moving forward, especially knowing that you got a lot of draft picks coming up in 2023. So that was good to see. But talking about Derek Barnes, you still got to take it with a grain of salt. You talk about he's flying around. Last year, Derek Barnes looked good for us, and he came on the show. And then after that, he kind of went backwards, and he disappeared until this week. Injuries are helping the Detroit Lions draft picks. You got injuries in Tracy Walker. You got injuries in Anzalone. You have injuries on the defensive line. So it's getting some other guys some chances to play, and it's showing. And then you get rid of Hawk, and now you got Zylstra. Now you have Mitchell scoring touchdowns in the red zone, which has been bad. So it's good to see injuries have helped them out. But the draft picks play well, but the other side of Detroit Lions is a struggle.
Hey, Brad Holmes had a great Sunday. He did. I hope he has another great one.
He did.
And as this thing goes along, I just think it's one thing you could look at and feel somewhat good about.
Yeah.
We've all been here for a very long time. We know what the deal is, and I'm not saying hop on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything like that. What I am saying is, if you want to at least give yourself a little bit of a sliver of hope, know that this wasn't this game was not won because of some 31-year-old free agent pickup on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this was done with guys that you hope grow into something for many, many years to come on this football team. And again, there's 7 guys that contributed on the field on Sunday that were taken in the last 2 years of the NFL draft. And maybe I'm missing somebody, but between Sewell, Rodriguez, Amon-Ra, Barnes, Mitchell, Joseph, and Hutchinson, and I think Pascal did okay. You didn't hear Pascal's name a lot, but Pascal's presence.
Rodriguez, don't forget.
I mentioned him.
He got hurt, though.
He did. Pascal's presence out there helps guys like Hutchinson, helps guys on the back end here getting to the quarterback. He had a quarterback hit. Did Josh Pascal make that helps guys on the back end like Kirby Joseph? It
helps, but let's get back to when we came out of break. We played the sample, and the sample was Dan Campbell saying we got better, and that's actually where I was going. Maybe I start talking and forgot where I was actually going. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with we got better last week. Did your picks, the players that you've picked, the players that you've put the future hands in, some of those guys played well, and that was good to see. And maybe you got better in the fact that you now are trusting the guys that you drafted, but that's all about getting the right reps, being on the field. So that comes with that. But in terms of we got better, I disagree. The offensive line, they look average in the game on this past Sunday. You look at Jared Goff. Jared Goff's numbers weren't good. Had another interception in a crucial point. You look at the yards. You look at Jamal Williams. Yeah, he had 81 yards. He also had 24 carries. That's 3.7 yards a crack. You look at where you didn't stall in the red zone with Mitchell, but you just look at the decision making, the fourth down where you took points off the board. You look at going for it on fourth down and spread offense with no running back game. Like, there are a lot of bad plays by the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell. I disagree that they got better as a team.
Can you guys tell me, and I don't know if you talked about this yesterday, but at what point did kicking a field goal and taking 3 points in the first quarter, when did that become a bad thing? Like, did I miss something here? Do I not know anything about football? Don't answer that. But you know what I'm saying.
I know what he's about to say.
Here's what you have to say. Here's the whole fourth down thing for Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
They're not talented enough for him to play by the regular rules. They're just not. And you have a guy, it's your fourth kicker that you've had this year. He don't trust him. He's not a good kicker. Obviously, they took a step back in the kicking game this year. So no, he's not going to kick the field goal when he knows his team is probably going to fold and give up the touchdown going back the other way. This is what I believe. I believe he is going to roll the dice less and less and less as the years go on, as the talent gets better on this team. He's playing with pee-wee players against terrific teams. I know the Packers aren't great, but the Lions are undermanned every week.
Yeah,
they are.
You know what, Maz? I don't want to hear that they're undermanned every week. I don't want to keep
Braylon, they are.
Maz, okay, I'll let you talk, and I didn't interrupt you, okay? You stop getting Braylon, they are. This is sports talk show. We talk about sports. We have opinions, but I'm not emotionally tied to the Detroit Lions. When I talk about the Detroit Lions, I talk about it from this point of view. This is the NFL. Like, we gave them that whole excuse last year. Oh, they're undermanned. But then in one space, we also will say, well, they were in this game. They should have won this game. They're in this game. This is the NFL. You have to find a way to get it done. If Dan Campbell is going to be in the NFL as a head coach, you have to make head coaching decisions. That will keep you as a head coach of a franchise. Kicking a field goal when we know you should kick the field goal, when you don't want to take points off the board, when it's earlier, it's about the perception, Maz, of knowing what to do. If Dan Campbell elects to go for a field goal in that moment, we will look at him and say he made the right decision. Now, if his field goal kicker misses it, that's on the field goal kicker. And if he replaces him on Monday, if he gets rid of him on Monday, brings in another guy, that's fine. But at least we know he has the presence of mind to make the right decision in the right moment. But he's not making the right decision, which doesn't give me hope that he'll be able to make the right decision, even if he has the talent to play.
And if you're Dan Campbell, that might be the smart thing to do from a public relations standpoint as well, because, number one, taking 3 points on the first drive of the game is always the right thing to do.
Nobody's going to say anything negative to Dan Campbell. They're going to be mad that the field goal kicker missed it.
Exactly. If you're a field goal kicker who misses a 17-yard field goal, which is what it would be, if Dan Campbell then goes for it on 4th and 9 or 4th and 7 inside the 40-yard line, you say, look, guys, I can't kick it right now. I can't kick it. I got to continue to go for these 4th downs because I don't have a kicker that can make a field goal. And then you understand why he's going for it and being this gambler on all these 4th downs.
And then
it's just, again, in a league that is as close as a one-score game each and every week, take the 3 points on the first drive of the game. I'll never understand, at least in the first quarter. Take the points.
We're sitting here talking about the Detroit Lions. They're undermanned. They're not being able to win games. They lost to the Seattle Seahawks. You can't tell me the Seattle Seahawks aren't in the same situation.
They're not. They're in first place.
The defense of the Seahawks are all young guys that are just drafted.
6-3.
Maz, but what I'm trying to tell
Braylon, 6-3.
Maz, I'm talking about the integral makeup of the Detroit Lions.
I don't give a damn about the makeup.
No, you do.
Who's winning?
Maz, you just said the Lions are undermanned.
They are.
What I'm trying to tell you is you look at the Seahawks. The Seahawks are winning with players that are 5th, 4th, 6th round draft picks.
But they're better players.
It's the same. No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They're better coached. Pete Carroll is a better coach that has a better system. You talk about players that are undermanned. Geno Smith and Jared Goff. Who's a better quarterback?
Geno.
Oh, you wouldn't have said that before the season started.
He showed me.
See, Maz, now you're playing.
See what? I'm playing. It's even. It's
Maz. All I'm saying is you can't tell me one team is undermanned when another team is equally undermanned, but they're not playing the same way because it's down to coaching. And that's what I talk about. You give Dan Campbell so many credits. The reason why one team is winning and one team isn't is because one team has a better coach, and that coach has an idea of who to hire as a defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator and how to get the players that are undermanned to play the best. So if you're going to tell me they're undermanned, then you got to tell me that the Seattle Seahawks are undermanned too.
Let's go player by player then. Is Lockett better than what we have?
You just told me Amon-Ra St. Brown was the #1 wide receiver.
I said at the beginning of the year.
Okay, so what's the difference?
They're your local security
K9 better
experts.
than
Have been
Swift?
for over 90 years.
You told me that he was going to win the running back of the year at the start of the year. Don't change the conversation now.
It's black and white.
Tons of bad guys is one thing.
It's not black and white. It's the truth.
1-800-STAY OUT. Guardian Alarm.
It's the truth.
Your
Yeah,
local
now,
security
it's the same
experts.
shit.
Guardian Alarm. Stay out.